know that we've had this conversation before about Sean Plunket, David Farrier, Michael Organ? In fact, I found a little clip here. Look at those sexy beasts. Oh, this is Inception. Hang on, I should do that. If I do this, if I do that, then it'll look a bit better. Is that better?
Not quite as weird.
No. Where we talked about Sean Plunket talking about David Farrier. And we're going to play a couple of minutes of this conversation because we said back then pretty much what Hayden Donnell was saying. Hayden Donnell from RNZ. Oh God, this is RNZ promo night. That Sean Plunket was getting this information. We didn't know this at the time. That was pointing the finger at David Farrier about having to go to court, family court orders, etc., etc., etc. I'll just play you a couple of minutes of this from how long ago was it? 5 months ago, something like that. Responded to Sean Plunket saying, if he hasn't, then this would be a very risky tweet. I should read the first tweet. Sean Plunket said, hey, has David Farrier been to any good court-ordered non-violence courses lately? So that was what the tweet, and that was Hayden Donnell's response. Because, of course, if it's not true, that would be defamatory. Because even though it's got a question mark on it, and as Mr. Plunket and some people try to do, they think if I'm just asking a question, then I'm covered by, I'm not stating anything. I'm asking a question. It's a pretty stupid way to think of the law, in my opinion. And you can see there's a fair bit of traction there. I mean, it's not hundreds of thousands, but there's a fair bit of traction there. Hayden Donnell then went on to talk about this new film released by David Farrier, which I haven't seen yet. I don't think any of us probably have. And Hayden Donnell said, I just looked up David Farrier's new film, Mr. Organ. And it's about an obsessive man with a history of taking people in with what proves to be false information. So this is talking to Sean Plunket. Hope you haven't been fooled by anyone like that. So that was the conversation we had several months ago. We made it very clear. Our opinion was basically, if Plunket is wrong, he could be in trouble. Now, the actual reason he might be in trouble is not that, because it then was portrayed what happened. It was then put out there that David Farrier did have a cease and desist or whatever it was from the family courts. But what's happened over the last 3 or 4 or 5 months is Sean Plunket and others have been talking about this, and David Farrier hasn't. And the reason David Farrier hasn't is because David Farrier couldn't. Let me read this to you. This is from a webworm released today, and if you want to go check it out, webworm.co, how Michael Organ weaponized the family court, ... and Sean Plunket.
Always said Sean Plunket was a weapon.
Well, he's some kind of fucking weapon. So here's a couple of sentences from it. I've actually messaged David. I've messaged him 2 or 3 times. We've never got him on, so I don't expect we'll get him. But if we do, I'm not going to. It's a very long read, but it's a very interesting read, and it lays everything out for you. You should go check it out. Webworm.co. This is the thing that David says. Now, the thing about family court proceedings is that they are notoriously confidential. All the names involved are heavily suppressed. I'd go so far as to say violating suppression in family court cases is taken even more seriously than other courts in New Zealand. This is partly because the family court often involve kids, vulnerable young children stuck in horrific situations. Put it another way, as a journalist, you might be tempted to push suppression on a juicy court case, but when it comes to the family court, you don't dare push a fucking thing. Those names stay under lock and key. Right. So we've got a pretty clear understanding as to information that's suppressed within the family court. So this is all information about what Sean Plunket then did, who had a copy of the family court order and sent out a series of tweets. Has David Farrier seen this? And if you go read the webworm, David will say he hadn't seen it at that time. So Sean Plunket's being fed things by someone, perhaps as Hayden Donnell's message said, maybe manipulated. Hope you haven't been fooled by anyone like that. Perhaps that was what was going on. So Sean Plunket starts tweeting out copies or versions of the family court order. He also tweeted, he tweeted a lot, the notice about me being ordered to attend an anti-violence class. So that's why he may not be in trouble for saying those things, because there was things in the courts about it. So this is what this is what David has now said today, and this is where Sean Plunket may be in trouble. To Sean's credit, the documents he posted had all the names redacted, except they hadn't been. They'd been redacted with an old school felt tip pen, and Twitter users quickly dragged them into Photoshop and saw who was involved. David then says, I have digitally redacted the felt tip redaction to make it an actual redaction. So this is here is just a felt tip, and obviously it's been redacted, but then people took it out and actually was able to remove enough of the felt tip to show who the names were. So the suppressed names, because of Sean Plunket, were no longer suppressed. In other words, when Sean shared those family court documents, Sean had also shared the suppressed names of those involved. Sean Plunket had shared confidential details of a family court case he had absolutely nothing to do with. Now, I don't know how the courts will treat, well, I covered them up in black ink, but the reality is Sean Plunket put information out into the public that people could then use to identify suppressed names. My wondering, and it's just a wondering, I've got a question mark at the end, Mr. Plunket, is he fucked because of this? Does some of that $300 million a year of government money going to his funders and then to him going to end up in court cases because of his actions? Family court suppressed names have gotten out. Joey?
This might surprise you, Pat, but I fucking hope so. Plunkett's been in the media long enough that he knows this. But because he's off on his own little thing where the Broadcast Standards Authority doesn't, he feels unstoppable, untouchable. He just says and does whatever he wants. I hope that they come down on him. I really do.